What's going on YouTube? Espresso Shucko here, and today let's talk about the support Electrode team that I put out this week. So this is going to be a little bit of a team breakdown here, a little bit more in depth between the two videos. Maybe you haven't watched them yet, maybe you just came here because this is the most recent upload. I won't judge. So let's talk about some strengths and weaknesses, what I think we can do with some other Pokemon on the team. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, I did not test this thing out at all before going on the ladder. I was only in Pokeball tier, so I didn't really expect there to be God tier players. Like, I wasn't really expecting that, but at the same time, it's good to acknowledge the fact that while the team does have some strengths, it does have some issues. There were definitely some piloting issues on my end too, if you did see the videos. So that is a thing. We played 4 games with a total between the two videos. We won all 4 of them, which is really nice, but could have easily have lost some matches there. Definitely could have lost some matches. Electrode only came to 1 game as well, so it is a support option, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a staple to bring with you. I've said it multiple times. This is almost more of an Armor Rouge team, because Armor Rouge just did so much work. Palafin did a lot of work too. Roaring Moon, I was a little bit disappointed with Iron Valiant, but thinking about Iron Valiant and what ended up happening with some of the matches, we ended up going up against a Golden Go, which that one I was kind of disappointed with to see how much the Shadow Ball did. But if I had played a little bit smarter too, I could have easily gotten rid of my opponent's Brute Bonnet in that match too, because they went for the Rage Powder. If I had saw that coming, I could have easily have gone Moonblast with Iron Valiant and Acrobatics with Roaring Moon, and between the two of them definitely would have gotten rid of Brute Bonnet. So I could have played a little bit better in game 2 out of the 4 games, which is the second match of the first video. So that was one thing with the Iron Valiant. But on the other hand, in the second video, we ended up going up against a Meowscarada that had a Mirror Herb, and they ended up copying a special defense boost that my Indeedee got. So really, the fact that they had that special defense boost, plus Protean getting rid of their Dark typing, the fact that we still took half of this thing's HP was pretty impressive, and it's also kind of impressive to Meowscarada's viability, because Meowscarada is a bit of a glass cannon, so the fact that we only took half of its HP with a Moonblast, which would normally be super effective, that's pretty impressive at the end of the day. So Iron Valiant definitely could have done a little bit better, but it is what it is. As I mentioned, Palafin did really nicely here. I really liked how Palafin played out, especially with the eject pack and the close combat ideas. So that was a thing. I really liked it, and to be honest, I might run it again. I don't know, because Intimidate is a thing, and in a closed team sheet / best of 1 where you might not know what your opponent has, awesome. Now, on an open team sheet, that could be a little bit of an issue, because your opponent can see what's coming there. They see the eject pack, they see the close combat, and basically if they have Ghost types or Terra Ghost, and they have something that is likely to be attacked by Palafin, they might just opt for either Protect or Terra Ghost. Might be a thing, but at the same time too, it's all speculation at the end of the day. So the main team here is right on screen. We have Electrode with Terra Ice. Originally, I was planning on maybe Terra Dark or Terra Ghost. Never got around to changing it, but Terra Ice might be good on Electrode in general. If we wanted to run something instead of, say, maybe Foul Play, we could run Terra Blast. Now you can hit ground types super effectively, because the other thing is Electrode does have the potential to not only be a support mod, but it could be a potential offensive, or at least have a potential offensive presence. I was going to say offensive sweeper, I don't know why that got so hard, but when you look at Electrode's stats, it is clear that there's a few similarities to another staple from Gen 8 that is really similar that we'll get into in a minute. But you look at Electrode's special attack stat, it is base 80, so yeah, Electrode might need a little bit of help on the damaging front, maybe a helping hand user to support it. So that's why I was kind of leaning with having Electrode itself be the support. So we have a base 60 HP, we have 50 attack, Hence why we have Foul Play as our damaging move, because we're not using that 50 attack. And that was to try to get around the fact that Electrode does have mediocre offensive stats. We have 70 defense and 80 special defense, which could be a little bit desirable to have some better points, but that 150 speed stat is really, really nice. So, we had Scary Face as some speed control. I never ended up using it. We had Taunt, which I did use. We got to see the face Electrode makes, which is awesome. Soundproof actually came in handy because we did go into the match with the Sylveon, which did go for Hyper Voice, and we just nullified multiple times. As far as abilities go, it does get Aftermath, which basically, if it's knocked out with a contact move, the move's user loses a quarter of their max HP. Now, where that Sylveon did try to knock us out with Quick Attack, if we had that instead, that would have been a really nasty surprise for that Sylveon. Same with Static. There's a chance of causing the target to be paralyzed if they hit Electrode with a physical move. So there is that. Now, some other options we could have had instead of Scary Face. As I mentioned, this team did struggle with dealing with weather. We could have gone for Rain Dance to change the weather. We could have maybe... Do you get Sunny Day? You do not get Sunny Day. So we could have maybe gone for Rain Dance on Electrode, which would have opened up the potential to change maybe Foul Play to say something like Thunder or even Terra Blast. Like, if we kept the electric terrain there, we could have had, say, a boosted Thunder, which would be nice. Because basically here, what I was getting at that Electrode is really similar to is Regieleki. We're just going to move Eleki a little bit closer to Electrode. So basically here, Electrode does have the better defenses, which is kind of weird. So it kind of balances out with the difference between HP and then the defense stats. Now, Eleki will always hit harder than Electrode because it has a Transistor to multiply whatever stat is using the electric type move by 50% on top of gaining stab. But there will probably come a day where Regieleki returns to Gen 9 VGC, so Terra Ice, Terra Blast, you could maybe get a feel for that, what it might be like by using Electrode, because Transistor won't be boosting that special attack stat by any means, but who knows, maybe people just want to make the light bulb even more stupidly overpowered by going Transistor plus Electric Terra. That could be a thing, but I digress right now. That's just an idea. What you could even do, because Eleki did tend to run screens. Pretty sure Electrode also gets both of these, but you could go maybe like a fast dual screen user, which, let's just take a quick look. We'll just move Taunt out. Reflect. Okay, Electrode doesn't get Reflect, but it does get Light Screen. So maybe what you could do is you could maybe slap Light Screen on Electrode, maybe slap Reflect on, say, another Pokemon like maybe Grimmsnarl, and then you could just get both your screens up almost immediately. That could be an idea. So that was kind of what I was thinking with Electrode. I mean, just to compare to see how bad this thing's special attack is. Yeah, you only hit 132. You might need Helping Hand support if you wanted to use this for offense or terrain support. And the big thing, too, I was thinking was using this for electric terrain, so you would probably want more Violet Paradox Mons on the team if you're going to try to commit to that. So while we have Iron Valiant on here, let's talk about it a little bit. I ended up running a special attack variant. You can easily go physical if you want to with Iron Valiant. Iron Valiant does have a little bit better physical attack than the special attack. So I ran the special set. I really liked the coverage options of Aura Sphere, Moonblast, and Shadow Ball. If you saw the Iron Valiant discussion video, you would know from PokemonDB.net that combination does hit everything at least neutrally and a lot of things super effectively. So what I was thinking was we could maybe go Terra Fairy with Iron Valiant to get a stupidly strong Moonblast. Now, another option that I was thinking was this team doesn't really have that many options for spread moves, so you could maybe go Dazzling Gleam instead of Moonblast if you wanted to, and then that way you could have the spread option on this Iron Valiant. or you could just try to brute force things with Moonblast. Now, the nice thing too is having a spread move coverage in general would get you around Rage Powder, and then you can play some games trying to scout out whether or not you're dealing with Wide Guard, or if you're dealing with redirection, like say Rage Powder or Follow Me. On the note of Follow Me here, Indeedee. Basically here, as far as our stats go, we have almost max HP with 244 investment, 212 defense EVs with a bold nature to get us up to 123, and then we have 52 on the special defense EVs with a psychic seed so that we gain a special defense boost. Basically there we get half of 132 right there, so we're relatively bulky on the special side, and then the remaining idea for the EVs with this heavy investment on the physical side is we're trying to patch up both weaknesses, or rather both defenses on Indeedee. That's the main gist of it. So as far as our moves go, our only attacking option is Psychic. Now, this did have some issues for me when I went up against the Houndstone Tyranitar team because we couldn't hit Dark types with the Psychic. So Dazzling Gleam would definitely make things a lot better. It also helps patch up the lack of spread move coverage on Indeedee here. We could do that. We could go Shadow Ball if we really wanted to. Now, I have a Terra Dragon type Indeedee. I don't ever intend to Terrastallize this thing, so that's why it's Terra Dragon. It's just what it was when I caught it, but if you really wanted to Terra Dragon it, or not Terra Dragon it, if you wanted to Terrastallize it in general, I would maybe suggest going Terra Ghost to get around Hyper Voice off of a normal type that isn't using, like, say, Sylveon's Pixelate, anything like that. Maybe you can go Ghost. You don't really need to worry about Fake Out unless your opponent removes the train with Ice Spinner or Steel Roller. That is something to keep in mind. Dragon does give you generic resistances to water, electric, grass, and fire, which is pretty nice, but you do become weak to Fairy. So I would even suggest maybe go Terra Fairy, because Fairy only has the two weaknesses to Steel and Poison, and you don't really see a whole lot of that running around, except for Golden Go. Yeah, I would maybe lean towards not going against, or, well, I mean, you could go Terra Fairy and just don't Terra into a Fairy type that Golden Go is around. That's something to keep in mind. But yeah, like Garganacl scares away Steel types with Salcure too, so that is a thing that could help. Now let's talk about Armarouge and Roaring Moon. I have Roaring Moon on the screen here first, so we'll talk about that. The way how this thing is set up, it gains a speed boost when its booster energy goes off. I really liked the Terra Flying Acrobatics, which was nice. I think Roaring Moon did really good. The Tailwind support was nice. It gets Throat Chop. One other thing too that Roaring Moon does get is because it's a Scarlet Paradox mon, it does get access to Sunny Day, so there's another means of changing the weather. But chances are you want to get rid of Sun, so I wouldn't really recommend putting it on Roaring Moon. This is a really standard set, but I really liked it. It was pretty reliable. Armarouge. Now, something I did not know going into this, but found out. Armarouge. It has a base 75 speed stat. I did not realize that Indeedee has base 85. So Indeedee is naturally faster than Armarouge to begin with. My Armarouge itself has almost max speed in the IV, so I would definitely recommend not doing this unless you want to try to play it with Tailwind, which, I mean, we got to see it in action. Tailwind Armarouge was a thing. It worked out pretty good for me. And yeah. Also, my Indeedee too just barely outspeeds it, because my Indeedee here, with its 15 speed, IVs hits 97. My Armarouge with max, almost max speed was 94. So if Indeedee had a few less speed IVs, this Armarouge probably would have been going first before Indeedee, outside of Trick Room, which would have been really, really nice, but unfortunately that's just not how it worked out. But that's one thing you got to really keep in mind with your team building here is make sure you try to have as little attack IVs as possible and as little speed IVs as possible if you're running Trick Room, or if you're running, say, things weak to foul play, which Armor Rouge and DD are both weak to. So that's why you kind of want to try to keep that in mind when you're building around your team. That said, I really liked the Armor Rouge with Terra Grass. It was nice to have that water resistance. It's also nice to get rid of the rock weakness with fire, changing over to grass, and then that way you don't have to worry about rock slides. Expanding Force was really, really nice. Energy Ball, I went for it once, I think, maybe twice, but the only reason why I did that was I was going into a Tyranitar and I didn't really have a means of hitting it outside of Armor Cannon because Dark types are immune to Expanding Force, and unfortunately, I did have to reveal that I had the Energy Ball, but it was kind of nice that Energy Ball gained the stab benefit from being Terra Grass, but this could have easily been, like, say, maybe Aura Sphere or Shadow Ball. Do you get do you get Shadow Ball? I know you get, for sure you get Aura Sphere. Let's take a quick look. Oh, you do get Shadow Ball. Okay, so that is a thing too. Terra Ghost might be cool for Armor Rouge because, you know, you do become Fake Out immune. If you don't have Indeedee and you're trying to set the Trick Room, that Terra Ghost might be nice too, to just try to stop a Fake Out. I threw a Life Orb on this thing because I wasn't really sure what to throw on it. I wanted to go for the extra damage, but what I would maybe recommend too is maybe a Mental Herb to get around Taunt, or maybe even, say, a White Herb, and then that way you can go for one Armor Cannon safely and then not have to worry about being at -1 in each defense. So you could maybe go for the White Herb instead of a Life Orb. Flash Fire was really nice. We did absorb a Eruption with Torkoal and then gained the extra firepower for Armor Cannon, so definitely like that. But I have seen the Weak Armor variant running around, and yep, I've been beaten by the Weak Armor variant Armor Rouge with Iron Bundle, which I kind of used to build into my next team a little bit, but I didn't use Armor Rouge, I used Colossal instead. So anyways, that's a thing. So, where does that leave us here? Some other things that I was thinking of, like I did mention, if you want to take advantage of the Electric Train off of Electrode, your options here, you get Iron Bundle, you get Iron Hands, Iron Jugulus, not Iron Leaves yet, because that's not legal, but Iron Leaves is out if you got it after the Pokemon Day event. Iron Moth would benefit from that, especially if you IV'd or /EV'd your Iron Moth so that you get a speed boost, and then that way you could justify getting away with not running booster energy. You could have, like, say, a Focus Sash on Iron Moth. Iron Thorns would benefit from, I mean, all of these would benefit from it. They're all the Quark Drive users. But yeah, if you really wanted to get that speed boost, I would definitely recommend, like, trying to do it on Iron Moth, Jugulus, Bundle, Treads, and Valiant. If you really wanted that speed boost, especially since a lot of these things are relatively frail, so you could get away with a Focus Sash instead. I kind of want to try the Electric Train on Electrode again, maybe, but I also kind of want to do an offensive one and maybe try Iron Treads at some point. Some other things too, as far as weather goes, that changes by looking at. Okay, a lot of things get Rain Dance, but yeah, anyways, all these things get manual Rain Dance. If we want to go Drizzle, Pelipper would be our option. Let's take a look at the Pranksters. Yeah, you get Grafaiai, Grimmsnarl, Klefki, and Sableye. I'm pretty sure all of them also get Rain Dance and Sunny Day, so you can change weather that way. If you want to keep Palafin on the team, which Palafin did really, really good with this team, and you wanted to further boost up its Wave Crash, I would recommend maybe a Prankster have Rain Dance as a wildcard slot for the moves, maybe on Klefki, maybe Grimmsnarl or Sableye. Maybe even Grafaiai too. You can have the Rain Dance on them. Palafin can then get an instant rain boost into its Wave Crash. You could do something like that. Terrain control, Ice Spinner Mons is definitely a good means of getting rid of terrain. You get access to it on all these here. You get Abomasnow, you get Avalugg, Azumarill, Bronzong, Titan, Qin Pao, who's going to be legal in Regulation C, which is what they're calling the series is going forward, is they're going to call it Regulation followed by a letter. So Qin Pao is going to be legal for that one, which is good to know. Cloyster, Crabominal, Cryogonal, Cyclozar, you guys kind of get the idea. There's a lot of things that get access to Ice Spinner, especially Great Tusk, which is really nice. I did get to try that out for next week's videos, so a little bit of a spoiler there. But yeah, anyways, a lot of things that get Ice Spinner, so you could do that for some terrain control, because like I said, we have Indeedee with the Psychic Surge, and we have Electrode with the Electric Terrain to manually set up Electric Terrain, or Indeedee with its ability to automatically set it. You do get that. So that's just some thoughts for the strengths and weaknesses. The team does focus on sweeping outside of Trick Room for the most part, because Palafin, Iron Valiant, and Roaring Moon, they all benefit from Tailwind once Roaring Moon sets it up, or Electrode slowing some things down with Scary Face if Electrode does go for that. The Covert Cloak does prevent Electrode from being shut down by Fake Out, which could be nice as well. So yeah, anyways guys, I've definitely talked a lot about this team here, and that's some thoughts that I was thinking of for the Mons. Let me know what you think down below. Like I said, Electrode is really similar to Regieleki too, so you could maybe probably adapt some old Regieleki strategies onto Electrode and maybe try doing some things with that there too. But I will say, Electrode is to Regieleki what Diet Pepsi is to Pepsi. I don't really drink Diet Pop, so I don't know how good of a comparison that is, but hey, I also don't use Electrode very often, so that's my main thoughts on the team. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me talk about the team, and yeah, I'll see you next week with a brand new Colossal team that I tried to use on the ladder. Anyways, peace out.